Also link to your Google Drive. So any documents that you have stored in your Google Drive, maybe as a department you have all of the common assessments saved in a Google Drive folder. So I can easily go through and click and add that as an attachment to this assessment. So it's all together in one place. Now finally, on the right, we see all of those standards that we've added up above. So now I can say, yes, my students, I am assessing these standards for this particular assessment. And by checking them off, that's what I'm indicating. I'm saying that my assessment will directly assess these standards. And more inline reporting here showing us now that I've assessed this standard once in this unit and now overall once in this course. And as you start developing your units and aligning the standards and adding those assessments, you'll see those numbers obviously increase and update as you're adding that information. And when I click save, my assessment populates my written report here, and I can see all of those standards that I'm assessing.
So it's beautiful because there's total transparency for your colleagues. No one has to wonder how long they're going to be doing a particular unit. If they need to go back and lengthen that unit, if it wasn't enough time, you can adjust it on your curriculum map. You can embed all of the common tasks that you may be using or those benchmark assessments. Everything's there at their fingertips.
As I move down to the other evidence and unprompted evidence, and even in the stage 3 area, these work just the same as up above. To add information, you click into the box, and then once you see your cursor blinking there, that's when you know you can start typing. Atlas is also very copy-paste friendly, so if you have documents that you've already uploaded that you wanted to transfer that information in, you can copy from your documents and paste into these sections. And it should even hold formatting if it's coming from a Word document or something like that. But again, to add information, make sure you actually click into the box and then you'll see your cursor pop up and you can start adding. Any resources that you have that you want to go along with this unit, I would suggest attaching them as an attachment here at the resources area. It works just the same as when we looked at the assessments. But you click on add an attachment and there you have your options: website, image, file, lesson plans if you have them, and then any documents stored in your Google Drive account. You can add as an attachment there. So once I've filled out my cells and DNA unit, I can go back to my unit calendar. I can add more. I can revise the other existing units. That's where I'll go and how I can actually add and edit curriculum in the system. Make sense so far? It's pretty, once you get in and start playing with it, it's pretty intuitive. It's pretty user-friendly.
So let's say they get stuck. They're in the middle of trying to do this because they really are the gatekeepers for all of their departments. How can they get immediate help?
Awesome. Yeah, so first place I would go is there's this blue question mark. It's in the corner of every single page in Atlas. It's context-specific support. So that means whatever page you're on, it will take you to the relevant support information for that page. So if I'm confused here, I'm at my unit calendar and I don't really know where to start, I can click on that blue question mark and it will pull up the Atlas support for developing a unit calendar. And it has a nice screenshot showing me all of the different features that I have, and the application section shows you now, okay, this is how you add a unit. This is how you modify the unit calendar. It shows you that drag and drop that I was showing you earlier, how to delete a unit, how to restore a unit, and I'll show you how to do that now. But again, if you're later on, you're a little lost and can't quite remember how to do something, I would first go to that blue question mark and see if this support information will help you out. Just remember, it's going to open up in a separate tab whenever you click on that blue question mark. So to get back to your work, just go to that other open tab and then you're back to your unit calendar.
And there are also embedded videos.
Yes.
As well.
Yeah, a lot of the support pages have quick videos that you can look at too. There's also their support tab here. I'm just going to click. When you click on the word support, it takes you to our Tour of Atlas page. And this is where you can go to access all of those videos. For a quick refresher, it'll go over everything we've gone through today. But there's also a link to our webinars that you can register for as well. So I'll go back to biology. There's a few things I wanted to show you here so that you know how to work with the curriculum. So I showed you how to add a unit to the calendar, how to adjust the order and pacing. Now to delete units, let's say you're doing a sample unit right now to practice, but you don't actually want it in your curriculum. If you go to this green arrow, this is a universal symbol in Atlas letting you know that there's a menu there that you can open up. So when you click on that green arrow, that menu pops up, and now I can rename the unit. Maybe I put a typo because I tend to do that a lot, or I misspelled something. I can rename the unit if I want to, and I can also delete that unit from my calendar. And if you're like me and just click yes anytime a warning window pops up, and let's say you deleted the wrong unit, don't worry, it doesn't really delete, it just goes into this recycle bin.
Thank God for that.
Yeah. So it's in the recycle bin, so I notice, oh shoot, I deleted the wrong unit. I can go to the recycle bin and restore it and bring it back. So it'll always have that restore button, and you can bring it back to your calendar. A lot of people like to also keep some units in the recycle bin that they teach maybe only every other year or every 4 years, like an election unit or something that's very specific. So you can always store them in your recycle bin if you want, and then bring them back to your calendar and make the necessary updates for the current year that we're in.
And they can also change the order of occurrence there under the units. So
Yep.
if you, for example, know that the kids have park assessment and they need to have covered a certain unit before the test date, you can rearrange how you're going to roll your curriculum out.
Yep, and so you'll do that by hovering over the unit duration bar and just dragging and dropping it. Maybe we need to start with cells, and then we can move the order and pacing of the rest of the units as necessary. Just by dragging and dropping. How's that so far? Cool. I wanted to show you, since this group, it's important for you to see how you can add and edit units, but I also wanted to show you, now that we're housing all of our curriculum in a common place with this common formatting, there's a lot of different reporting options that we have available to analyze our curriculum, as I said earlier, for those gaps and redundancies, viewing our assessments and all of that. So when I hover over reports, there's 3 major categories for the reports. There's a lot of options that you see, but there's 3 major categories that you can think of. The first one is the assessment report, then the scope and sequence type reports, and the standards. And we're going to take a look at one of each of them. So if you want to follow along, that's great. You can click along with me. Otherwise, you can just look up at the screen too if you want. But the first report I want to show you is the assessment methods report. And, it's just this one, assessment methods. And when we were developing my cells unit, when I clicked on add assessment and I had that assessment method drop down menu and I selected the written report, so everyone remember that, that's where this information is pulling from. So it's a breakdown of showing how, as a district or as a department or as a division, how we're assessing our students. So that drop down menu, that's where this information is pulling from. So I can see so far we have a really nice spread. We're differentiating the way we're assessing our students to address for the different learners. And if you wanted to see just on your specific subject area or just by a particular grade level, you can use those filtering tools. Maybe we just want to see math, for example. But like I said, we're still working on getting everything in, it seems like. So it's a work in progress as you start adding those assessments, as you start filling out the rest of your courses. This will continue to grow, and you'll have more assessments there. If you wanted to see the breakdown by instead of the assessment methods, if you wanted to see types, you wanted to see